Good morning, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. Today is January 27th, 2024. I have a major update for you guys. This is so big, I just have to bring everything to you. So here is the situation. Okay, up here on the left, we have reports coming in that civil war is ready to break out on the southern border with Texas. We have 10 states sending National Guard troops. 26 states are standing with Texas in a standoff with the federal government, with the federal forces. Texas has vowed to save the country and put a stop to all of the immigration that's happening at the border. They're sending troops. They're putting up barbed wire, razor wire across the border. And this is becoming a very serious issue. Okay, so we have an issue happening right now. And I am not going to give the full report on that because I do not have the full report. What I do have, I have some links here I'll leave for you guys. This is MARFOOGLE News. Major crisis just went south. Steve Ram breaking civil war fears. Texas prepares for standoff as 10 states send troops. Okay, this is happening now. All right, now let's look at where we are at the calendar. And I want to show you some very important information. Okay, the full wolf moon on January 25th. Okay, the full moon is always the 14th day of the month. Okay, we have that confirmed. We have the full moon is the 14th day of the month. And so this is January 25th. That confirms that SHEVAT, the new year for the trees, is January 26th and 27th. Now, on the Hebrew calendar, January 27th through January 28th and January 28th through January 29th, the 16th and 17th days of the month, okay, in the month of SHEVAT, is 11/16 and 11/17. Okay, 11 is the month and the day is 16. 11 is the month and the day is 17. So we've got 2 days here that both correspond in the Strong's Concordance with Bama. Okay, 11/16 and 11/17 are Bama, and the conjoining factor here is January 28th. Huge information I'm going to share with you now. January 28th. Let's look at all of the coding that has happened since the war began and then the Gaza invasion with the lunar eclipse of October 28th. Okay, we've got the lunar eclipse of October 28th together with Israel's ground invasion of Gaza. Okay, this has a code of 128. The 0 is canceled. This is 1028. It's 128. Okay, 128. Then we have Leave the World Behind, December 8th. This was also 128. Okay, now we've got January 28th, and this is 128. Okay, 128. So all of these things connecting. Now, look at this information I'm going to share with you about Obama being revealed as the beast in the island of Dr. Moreau. Okay, Obama revealed as the beast in the island of Dr. Moreau. I shared about this a few days ago. This was someone else did the research on this, found Obama's eyes and forehead in the movie revealed as the leader of the beast people. Okay, the beast people. And Obama showed up in the movie. This was a movie from 1996. I'm going to show you how this is connected to 128. Okay, this is connected to 128. Let's look at 128 in the Strong's Concordance. 128 in the Greek Strong's Concordance. An Ethiopian. Okay, Mero. Ethiopian means a dark-skinned person. Okay, you can look this up, and you can find that Mero means a dark-skinned person. Let's look this up. I'll show you right now. Mero. What is the meaning of Mero? And here we have Ethiopian, but it goes deeper than this. So let's take a look at Dr. Mero and the meaning of Mero. Okay, meaning of Mero. Nickname for a dark-skinned man. Dark brown, black. A diminutive of more brown or black. Okay, a dark-skinned person is Mero. But look here, okay? Look at this exactly, the description in 128 Ethiopian in the Greek Concordance. The face. To burn the face, Ethiopian. Here the reference is to Upper Ethiopia, called Habesh or Abyssinia, a country of Africa adjoining Egypt and including, guys, this is unbelievable information. You cannot make this up. I mean, what do you expect me to do with this information, guys? I have got to share this with you. A country of Africa adjoining Egypt and including the island Mero. The island Mero. Come on, guys. Obama revealed as the beast in the island of Dr. Black Man. The island of the Black Man. Island of Mero. Island Mero is the meaning of 128 Ethiopian. It's a country of Africa adjoining Egypt and including the island Mero. Here it is, right here, exactly in the Strong's Concordance. 128, connecting us with the arrival of the beast, the leader of the beast people. 128. Here's the code: 128, 128, 128. January 28th is the death of Yitzhak Kaduri. Yitzhak Kaduri, the story of Yitzhak Kaduri and his prophecies of the end time, the rabbi who found Messiah. Yitzhak Kaduri found the Messiah, revealed Yeshua as the Messiah of the Jews. So here we have January 28th from 11:16, 11:17 on the Hebrew calendar, SHVAT 16, SHVAT 17, Bama, January 28th, connected to the code from this lunar eclipse, where there was also this ritual with Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry was connected here through his death. Julia Roberts was connected here, and they dated, and she was on Friends with Matthew Perry. Okay, 128, 128, and now we have this connection here to the island of Mero, 128 Ethiopian. Now, I want to talk to you about Tu B'Shvat and why this is the end of winter and why this is the beginning of spring, the planting of the trees. Okay, let's talk about that, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you why we're still here and why it could not happen before now, because we have this whole thing about not being in winter and not being on the Sabbath. And here we have Tu B'Shvat is following on the Sabbath, so we have to go past Tu B'Shvat this weekend. Civil war is going down. It's happening now. It's being prepared now. And it's all pointing to this weekend. I believe this is the final line of this show here, January 28th. But let's take a look at this information. The history of Tu B'Shvat. The middle of the month of Shevat is traditionally regarded as the time when spring begins in Israel. The rainy and cold season ends when the blossoms of almond trees first begin to appear. Indeed, some scholars have said that originally Tu B'Shvat was a folk festival to welcome the re-emergence of spring. During the time of the temple, Tu B'Shavat was selected as the date when temple taxes were assessed from Jewish farmers. The sages reasoned that by this time the trees had begun to soak up the winter rains, causing their sap to rise, and therefore Tu B'Shavat marked the start of their growing season. In this way, Tu B'Shavat became known as Rosh Hashanah Lelanat, the New Year for trees. And when the temple stood in Jerusalem, Tu B'Shavat served as the day for the first fruits of the trees that had turned 4 years old were offered. The day the first fruits of the trees that had turned 4 years old were offered. This takes us exactly to the parable of the fig tree and the 4-year delay on the cutting down of the fig tree, which happens on the new year of the trees. And this day, Tu B'Shavat, served as the day the first fruits of the trees that had turned 4 years old were offered. Jesus said, "Let your flight be not in winter and not on the Sabbath day." And then he went on to say, "Let me tell you about the parable of the fig tree, that when you see the budding of the fig tree, then you're going to know that summer is nigh." Okay? Summer is nigh. Together with the fig tree and together with the end of winter, we have the beginning of summer. We have the end of winter, the beginning of spring, the beginning of summer, the beginning of the budding of the trees. This is when they plant trees. That means the winter is over. It's the beginning of the spring or the beginning of the summer. Even the prophecies of Rabbi Kaduri were connected to the Sabbath afterwards and the New Year. On the eve of the New Year, And here we have the New Year of the trees and the Sabbath. So the flight can't be in winter, and the flight can't be on the Sabbath. Now here's the other reason why this could not happen on the Sabbath, because if they're going to be celebrating the New Year for the trees, and this happens to fall on the Sabbath, okay, how do they celebrate the New Year of the trees? Well, they plant trees. They go out and they physically plant trees. They can't do that on a Sabbath. They cannot do that on the Sabbath. And so here we have at the end of this Sabbath, flight not in winter, flight not on the Sabbath. Then the next day, and this weekend that falls between January 27th, 28th, if you want to go into January 28th and 29th, both of these days are conjoined on January 28th. Both of these days are conjoined on Bama. It's the 128 code we found in all of this. It's connected exactly to the dark-skinned man, the Ethiopian, the island Meroe. The meaning of Meroe is a dark-skinned man. And I just shared with you prophetically. Now we know that this is a true prophecy because this is right out of the Word of God. The island of Dr. Meroe. 128 Ethiopian, including the island Meroe. Okay, you guys, this cannot be invented. This cannot be fabricated. January 28th. It's the day of Yitzhak Kaduri. And all of this is pointing to now, and now we've got civil war beginning, guys. The warnings are out. This is going down. This is happening. Troops are on the way. Is this the time? Is this the weekend? This is a serious Rapture watch warning for this weekend, January 27th, January 28th, January 29th. We have so much information happening right now. So many things lining up now. Now, just a few days after we were watching January 11th, 111, I had an accident when I hit a deer. This was about January 14th or January 15th. I had an accident and I hit a deer. So I took my car into the shop. I shared with you guys about this. I didn't have my plate on when I showed the first video. Someone said, "Where's your plate?" Well, then I took the picture of the car after the car got fixed. And I put the plate back on and I took the picture of the plate. Other people then said, "You should blur out your plate." Well, after I put the plate on there, someone looked up this number 353. And this number here is to take up, to rise, to raise, to take up, raise. I take up, raise. I pick up, take on board. I carry off. I lead away. Just after we were watching January 11th, where we had been talking about Acts 1:11, because Jesus, who has been taken up from you into heaven, will come back just as he went in the clouds. And this is from Acts 1:11. And we were watching January 11, and we had talked about this verse as a conjunction with January 11th because it's Acts 1:1:1. Well, this is the number of the plate. And it's the same verse. Jesus, who has been taken up. 353. And I hit a deer, just like there's a deer in Leave the World Behind. The deers are the focal point. One of the focal points of the movie were the deers. Leave the World Behind. And the code is December 8th, 128, 128. And here's the deer. Well, this is the number on my plate. So here's all this information. I don't know what else to do with this or what more to add to this. Rapture watch. Flight not in winter and not on the Sabbath. January 28th, 2024. I pray you are blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with the trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.